Hello all, hello all, and welcome to a fairly, later than your average weekend beer review, which I'm going to dub the Apocalypse beer review, because this morning before I left to go to my grandfather's to do yard work for several hours, I was trying to chase a fly out of the house. I had the screen door open, and apparently my little rooster child, who's about yay big, got in, he got inside while the screen door was opened and my back was turned or something like that, and he went and hid under some boxes or something like that. So I come home several hours later and it looked like a literal shitstorm had broken out in my house by the vicinity of my bed and window, where there was poo on the floor, poo on my bed, poo smeared on, the sliding door here. Poo on some of the boxes. Luckily, no poo on my books, no poo on my tobacco. So nothing I had to throw out, but I had to do a bunch of laundry, so it's a bit later. A bunch of laundry, a whole lot of mopping and cleaning up. And yeah, I'm going to be a little bit more careful about leaving the door open so chickens don't sneak in and hide. So yeah. So what are we reviewing today? We are reviewing Honolulu Beerworks South Shore Stout. This is 6.6 ABV. And it's actually a very hot and humid day, so the cold snap is over. As you can kind of tell, I'm not wearing the flannel or jacket anymore. And I'm actually sunburned. And interestingly, it's pouring, pissing flash flood watch on the island above me and the island below me. But here, as you can see, it is a fairly sunny, very muggy afternoon. So winter is coming out. So let's pour this out, shall we? We're going to be using regular pint glass today, because I don't use it enough. It doesn't get enough love. Perfect. Tell me, friends, is this not the perfect pour for a stout? So let's go and get this to the light, shall we? You can see, perfectly opaque. Maybe a slight amber ruby brown through the bottom here that you can see. With a beige to khaki, thick, fluffy head. Well, maybe not thick. It's dissipating a little bit quicker than a stout would. Sweet cacao. Chocolate nibs. Not overly roasty, definitely more on the sweeter, more desserty side. Slight hints of grassiness. And stoved black Cavendish tobacco. Yeah, that was a little bit overly explicit, but go and smell some Cavendish tobacco and you'll see what I mean. Perfect amount of carbonation for its style. Actually fairly light, which some might go and consider a strike against it, but considering the weather today is just hitting the spot. Front, kind of milk to bittersweet chocolate, sort of in between that. Sweetness from start to finish, including in the lasting finish. almost carob-like notes in the mid to finish. And just a light roastiness in the lasting finish there. And with the lasting sweetness too, it kind of comes across as almost like a coffee ice cream kind of note to it. Though not as sweet. Coffee ice cream inside coffee. The hopping kind of provides just a very subtle tableau on everything on the malts. So there's just like a background sort of bitterness. And it's definitely more of a hop bitterness instead of a roasty bitterness, a roasty malt bitterness. But not so much so that it becomes resinous, as I dislike, or overly earthy or grassy. Just nicely drinkable. Carob notes are kind of expanding as it warms up a little bit. I'm liking this, you know, it's just enough roastiness to put it into the stout category. Some people would probably say, yeah, it needs to oomph up that dark malt there, so it goes from porter to true stout. But it's kind of stoutish enough for me in that there's enough roastiness there as opposed to kind of chocolatiness in the finish. Kind of run out of things to say about this one. I let it warm up a little bit before I poured it into the glass, as a stout should be. So, South Shore Stout from Honolulu Beerworks. Perhaps a little on the light side for a true stout connoisseur, but for someone who lives in Hawaii, probably a pretty on-the-spot stout, because really heavy beers don't go too well on what are the majority of days here in Hawaii, which are hot and or humid. So, that's your beer review for today, folks. And let's hope there's never another apocalypse in my room again. That was just horrid. I must have peeled the paint off the walls, cursing. And poor little bugger knew that he was in trouble too. He was just throwing himself against the glass trying to get out until I opened the door, and he was like, whoosh, right into the bushes. Well, enough of that story. Cheers.